Avian botulism is a serious disease that can affect many types of birds, including wild waterfowl, shorebirds, and domestic poultry like chickens and turkeys. It is not caused by a direct infection, but by a powerful toxin or poison produced by a bacterium. This bacterium is named Clostridium botulinum. The disease is important because it can cause large-scale die-offs, especially in wild bird populations. For poultry farmers, an outbreak can lead to significant economic losses. Understanding this disease is the first step in protecting our birds from its devastating effects. It is a silent killer because the birds often die quickly without obvious signs of a struggle, making it hard to notice until many are already sick. The culprit behind botulism is a neurotoxin. This is a type of poison that attacks the nervous system. The Clostridium botulinum bacteria produce this toxin under specific environmental conditions. These conditions include a lack of oxygen, a source of protein to feed on, and warm temperatures. The bacteria themselves are widespread in nature and can be found in soil, river mud, and the intestines of healthy animals without causing any harm. The problem begins when these bacteria find the right environment to grow and multiply, allowing them to release the deadly toxin into their surroundings. It is this toxin, not the bacteria, that makes the birds sick when they ingest it. There are several different types of botulinum toxin, labeled with letters like A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. In birds, the most common type is type C. Sometimes type E is found, especially in fish-eating birds like gulls and loons. Each type of toxin affects the nervous system in a similar way, but their potency can vary. For poultry operations and wildlife managers, knowing which toxin type is present can be useful, but the immediate goal is always to stop the birds from consuming any more of the contaminated material. The toxin is one of the most potent natural poisons known to science, meaning even a tiny amount can be lethal. The impact of this disease is significant. It causes a condition known as flaccid paralysis, which means the muscles become weak and limp. A bird that cannot hold its head up, walk or fly, is extremely vulnerable. It can easily drown if it is in water, or it may die from dehydration, starvation, or predation. In large poultry houses, an outbreak can spread quickly, affecting a large percentage of the flock in a matter of days. For conservationists, a botulism outbreak in a wetland can kill thousands of migratory birds, posing a threat to entire species. This is why monitoring and rapid response are so critical for managing this silent killer. Botulism spreads in a way that can create a vicious cycle of death, especially in wetland environments. The cycle often starts when a small number of birds die from other causes. If the conditions are right, warm weather and anaerobic, or oxygen-free, environments inside the carcass, the Clostridium botulinum bacteria present in the environment will begin to grow. As the bacteria multiply within the decaying bird, they produce large amounts of the botulinum toxin. This makes the dead bird a highly toxic package. Healthy birds are not infected by other sick birds directly, but rather by consuming the toxin from a contaminated source. A primary way the toxin spreads is through what is known as the carcass maggot cycle. Flies are attracted to the dead, decaying birds. They lay their eggs on the carcasses, and these eggs hatch into maggots. The maggots then feed on the toxic flesh of the dead bird. As they feed, they concentrate the botulinum toxin within their own bodies. They are not affected by the toxin, but they become toxic carriers. Healthy birds, especially waterfowl and chickens, see these maggots as a tasty source of protein. When they eat the toxic maggots, they ingest a lethal dose of the toxin and become sick themselves. This leads to more birds dying. Each new dead bird becomes another breeding ground for the bacteria and a new source for toxic maggots. This creates a chain reaction that can amplify an outbreak, leading to the death of hundreds or even thousands of birds in a short period. The cycle can continue as long as there are dead birds, warm temperatures, and susceptible birds to feed on the maggots. Environmental factors like fluctuating water levels can also play a role. When water levels drop, they can strand fish and aquatic invertebrates, which then die and provide a perfect environment for the bacteria to produce toxins. In poultry farms, the source of the toxin may be different, but the principle is the same. Poor sanitation, wet or spoiled litter, or access to contaminated water can create conditions for toxin production. If a dead bird is not removed from the flock quickly, other chickens may peck at it, ingesting the toxin. Similarly, contaminated feed or water can be a source of an outbreak. Any decaying organic matter, whether it's a dead rodent in the feed bin or rotting vegetation in a water puddle, can become a source of the potent neurotoxin. This highlights the absolute importance of good hygiene and management on the farm. Recognizing the clinical signs of avian botulism is crucial for early intervention. The most classic sign is progressive, flaccid paralysis. This typically starts in the legs and wings and moves upwards. Affected birds will appear weak and may be unable to stand or walk. They might use their wings to prop themselves up. As the paralysis progresses, it affects the neck muscles, leading to a condition commonly called limber neck. The bird loses the ability to hold its head up, and its neck may rest on the ground. In waterfowl, this paralysis can cause them to drown because they cannot keep their heads above water. Other signs of sickness can be observed. The bird's breathing may become slow and labored because the muscles of the diaphragm are also affected. You might notice that the bird's inner eyelid or nictitating membrane is paralyzed and does not move properly. Feathers on a sick bird might appear loose and can be plucked out easily with little to no resistance. In the final stages, the bird becomes completely limp and enters a deep coma before death. The speed at which these signs appear depends on how much toxin the bird consumed. A large dose can cause death within hours, while a smaller dose can lead to a slower progression of symptoms over several days. Confirming a diagnosis of botulism usually involves a combination of observing these clinical signs and performing laboratory tests. A veterinarian can take samples to try and detect the toxin. The best samples for testing are the blood serum from a sick bird or liver tissue from a recently deceased bird. It is also very useful to test the contents of the bird's digestive tract or any suspected food source, like maggots found near dead birds. The standard test is the mouse bioassay, where extracts from the samples are injected into mice to see if they develop signs of botulism. Newer, faster tests are also being developed. Once botulism is suspected or confirmed, immediate action is needed to control the outbreak and prevent further spread. The single most important step is to remove and properly dispose of all dead birds. Carcasses are the primary source of the toxin, so getting rid of them breaks the cycle. In a poultry house, this means thoroughly cleaning the facility and replacing all the litter. In a wetland, it involves teams of people walking the area to collect carcasses. Sick birds should be removed and isolated in a clean, quiet place with easy access to fresh food and water. Some may recover if they have ingested a non-lethal dose of the toxin. Prevention is the best strategy for managing avian botulism. For poultry farmers, this means focusing on strict biosecurity and good management practices. It is vital to maintain a clean and dry environment inside the poultry houses. Proper ventilation and good quality litter management help prevent the anaerobic conditions that Clostridium botulinum needs to thrive. A daily check of the flock to promptly remove any dead birds is essential. This prevents other birds from pecking at the carcasses and stops the carcass maggot cycle before it can even begin. Ensuring a clean supply of feed and water is also fundamental to preventing exposure. Controlling pests like rodents and insects is another key component of prevention. Rodents can die in walls or under feed bins, creating a hidden source for toxin production. Effective fly control programs reduce the number of maggots that could potentially carry the toxin to the flock. For birds raised outdoors, farmers should manage the environment to avoid areas of stagnant water where dead animals or vegetation could decay. By maintaining a clean environment and minimizing risk factors, producers can significantly reduce the likelihood of a botulism outbreak in their flocks and protect their economic investment. A common question is whether humans can get botulism from sick birds. The risk is generally considered to be very low. The types of botulinum toxin that most commonly affect birds, like type C, do not typically cause illness in humans. Human botulism is usually associated with types A, B, and E, often from improperly canned or preserved foods. Furthermore, the botulinum toxin is destroyed by heat. Thoroughly cooking poultry meat and eggs to a safe internal temperature would destroy any toxin that might be present, making the food safe to eat. However, people should never handle sick or dead wild birds without proper protective gear like gloves. In summary, avian botulism is a serious paralytic disease caused by a toxin from the bacterium Clostridium botulinum. It spreads through a cycle involving dead animals and toxin-carrying maggots. Key signs include weakness and a limp neck. Prevention is the most effective approach, focusing on sanitation, prompt removal of carcasses, and pest control. While the risk to humans from affected birds is minimal, proper food handling and cooking are always important. Remembering these key points helps everyone, from large-scale poultry producers to wildlife enthusiasts, protect the health of birds.